Hello everyone, I just wanted to start off this video by saying happy birthday to the Scraptastic Kit Club. And this is a card that I made a couple of months ago, but I really wanted to say happy birthday and congratulations to Jessica for 4 years of creating beautiful kits for scrapbookers everywhere, and I'm looking forward to many, many years ahead and lots of exciting news for the Scraptastic Club and for Jessica. So happy birthday. So today is Saturday, August 2nd, and welcome to the Scraptastic online crop. If you are watching this video on YouTube, the crop is happening yesterday and today at the Scraptastic online forum. So check out the link in the information section for this video if you haven't already been there. There are lots of exciting games and challenges, and there are some prizes to be won. And if you can't get online today, if you're watching this a couple of days from now, the challenges and games are all open, or at least the challenges are all open until I believe August 10th or 12th. I will check on that and let you know in the information section for this video. So this video is actually not about this card. I just wanted to say happy birthday. So I've created this bingo challenge for you guys today, and this is a bingo card that has all kinds of elements for you to include in a project. And this could be used for a layout or a pocketed spread, or even a card or a mini book, or whatever project you happen to be working on these days. And what I'd like you to do is include either a row like this, or a column like this, or a diagonal row, or a diagonal line on this bingo sheet. And the graphic for this bingo sheet is included in the forum post about this challenge, which is the bingo challenge on Saturday morning. And so you'll be able to find this and look at it more closely, but I just wanted to run through it with you guys right now. So the options are to grab a border punch and punch out a border to use on your project. You guys know, if you follow my channel, that I'm all about bows these days, so use a bow on your project, stamp on your project, use multiple photos, make or use some die cuts on your project, include 4 different colors on your project, use an older kit, mix it up with mixed media supplies, go wild with washi, use a black and white photo, go for a monochromatic color scheme, sew on your project. This one is a free, so you can do anything for that. Frame it up, so use a frame. This one is all about you, so scrapbook about yourself, or make a card for yourself, or do a project life or a pocketed page section of all about you. This one is happy birthday in honor of the Scraptastic 4th birthday. So use a birthday theme, either make a birthday card or scrapbook about a birthday. Use a grid design. Use 4 pattern papers. So again, it's the 4th anniversary. So we've got 4 pattern papers and 4 different colors. Missed it. Use the number 4 in your title. Use wood veneer or wood grain. Enamel dots, use arrows. I love arrows. Favorite thing. So this one is to scrapbook about an item, so something that you love. And then the last one is to mix multiple fonts. So for the layout that I'm about to show you guys the process for, I used this diagonal line right here. So I punched a border right there, and there's my border punch right there. I used a really old border punch called Apron Lace by Fiskars. And then the second one is to use an older kit, and I used the Feel Again kit. The middle one is a freebie. The next one is Missed It, so I did include some mist splotches right there and there. The next one is Mix Multiple Fonts, and so I mixed some mini markets, some thickers, and another thicker to make this title. So stay tuned if you'd like to see the making of this layout, and make sure you hop on over to the Scraptastic forum and check out my bingo challenge. You could win a prize. Take care, everybody, and have a great scrappy weekend, and happy birthday, Scraptastic! Hi guys, so today I have two photos to potentially scrapbook. They're not going to go on the same layout, obviously, but I do have these two. They're both they both made me pull out another kit for a couple of reasons. It's now today's July 28th, and I do have some of my Summer Nights kit from Scraptastic left over, but this picture I love the pink in it, and I really want to play up the pink, and the kit that I have has more of a red dominance to it. There's more red in it than anything else. So I think that this photo isn't going to work so well with this kit. And then this is a photo of my husband and I out on a date night, and so I pulled out the Scraptastic Feel Again kit, which was from February. So what I do when I don't quite kill a kit, or when I don't even almost kill a kit, if I almost kill a kit, I just put it in with my scrappy supplies. But if I have lots and lots of stuff left over from the kit, what I'll do is I'll package it all up and put it away for a rainy day. And it actually is raining out today, so very fitting. So I'm just going to pull all of this stuff out of, this is a Studio Calico kit bag. These are awful. I would never have bought them. I will never buy more of them because the zipper easily seems to break on them. And it's it's a nice sturdy bag other than the zipper, but I mean, once the zipper breaks, I don't know, this is probably going to start to tear. I don't know. I don't use them often enough to know how well they hold up over time, but it's not looking very promising, to be honest with you. So anyhow, it is what it is, and it does have this nice little handle, and I put them in, and it doesn't really matter if the zipper works or not. I store them this way in a vertical kind of cubby hole in my Recollections storage cubes. So it doesn't really matter, but I just thought I'd mention that. So I'm going to, I don't know which of these two layouts, which of these two photos I'm going to scrapbook today, so I'm just going to prep them both, and I'll get started, and then I'll decide as I go which one I'm going to work on. So come along, and I will catch up with you again when I go to narrate this. Okay, so here I am. I'm just going to trim up these photos. These are both Instagrams that were printed at 2.9 by 2.9. The way that my printer works is I can't put two photos on one sheet if it's 3 by 3, even though it is printing onto a 4 by 6, so in theory you could. So it's just a little quirk of my printer. So I am just having a look through the paper. There's lots of cardstock left and lots of pattern papers left in this kit. This is again the Feel Again kit from February, and this is actually being filmed on July 28th, and so it's a bit of a throwback to earlier in the year. So I took that XO paper, which is it's from the Head Over Heels collection from Echo Park, and I use that to matte the photo, and then I'm matting again with this aqua colored paper, which is from the Love Notes collection from Crepe Paper, and I just use my ruler to tear a jagged edge that's relatively straight, but still has the fibers, the white fibers of the paper showing. And now I decided to use this diagonal striped red and white paper because the red on it kind of picks up on the burgundy in my sweater, and so I went to my red scraps and just picked out a similar shade of cardstock, and I'm using my apron lace punch, and this is inspired by an album flip I did where I was looking through some old layouts, and I do have a YouTube video coming up for that, yeah, I was using this punch a lot back then, and I got to thinking I really like that punch, and I don't know why I haven't been using it, so I'm going to use it here. And I'm just going to cut, I think it's a 1.5 inch strip of this paper, 1.5 inches wide, and I'm just leaving it at the 12 inches long. And when I use this punch, what I really like to do is have the paper completely cover everything except for the little scallop edge, and that's my favorite look with that punch. So I'm going to also cut a piece of this paper, or well, actually tear it, and this is going to be a vertical element because the diagonal paper is going to provide a horizontal element, and so this will become an L-shaped layout. This is one of the most common layouts setups that I use, is an L shape where I've got one vertical and one horizontal paper in my background, and everything just kind of builds around there. I'm thinking about using that damask colored blue and white pattern paper for my background just because it's so different than anything I would normally use for a background, but it's very sweet looking and it's not exactly the look I was going for, so I'm going to continue to use this striped paper with the bands on it. And that background paper is by Love Notes by Crepe Paper. It's from the Love Notes collection from Crepe Paper. So I'm just going to have a look through my stash. This is a foil vellum sheet that was sent to me by a YouTube viewer of mine. She sent me the sweetest rack I was so touched by it because it was just a small sampling of a whole bunch of things that I would totally use. And these little gold foil hearts on the vellum are absolutely to die for. It's probably my very favorite detail in this whole entire layout is just these little tiny gold foil hearts. And these little touches, even though it doesn't show up very much on the layout, they really make a big difference in the overall feel. Just going to outline my blocks of paper now. And I've just flipped over my background paper to do that. And just in case I get any stray lines, I don't want it to be on the front side of that paper. I really love these colors. I have to say this is one of my all-time favorite kits, the Feel Again kit. Even though it had a pretty strong Valentine's theme, and I did scrapbook a lot of photos of Scott and I with this kit. I think it's very versatile. I'm going to try to use it with the other photo of Stephanie and the cat as well. Oh, I love that foil vellum. It's just so beautiful. Sorry, I lost myself in the beauty of the gold hearts. um, yeah, so there we go. And I'm orienting that background paper so that the two heavier colored bands are at the bottom, and that just helps it to feel grounded. And here I thought about, look, see, I cut this into a banner and I didn't even end up using it, but I'll use it for something else. So I thought about using these transparencies, but I am not going to use these ones. I am going to use one of them, but not these ones. So these are transparencies that came in the kit, and I don't know who made them because I didn't have the package. So that transparency there that I just put behind, it's just a tiny little chevron shape. I think it's a chevron. Yep. Although all that you can really see is stripes. That I just left there just for one more little bit of interest. And here are the die cuts. These are die cuts from, let me see, from the Be Loved collection from Fancy Pants. I have the frames and the die cuts. They all came in the kit. There's also a package of Ellie Studio die cuts that I'm going to open in a few minutes. So I'm having a look through these, and these are some ormolu cut aparts that came in the kit that were just put in with the embellishments. And I'm putting everything that might go with this layout over to the left, and then the things that have definite Valentine's Day embellishments like phrases and stuff like that, I'm putting up in the top left-hand corner, and that's stuff that I'm just going to put aside and not use at all today. And here I am just opening these, and it seems like every single piece that I pick up is going over in the right hand pile. I'm like, these are awesome. So I just took a minute to do a thumbs up to say I love all of these. So there's no point in sorting anymore because I'm going to have a big huge pile. So I'm going to take a minute and put down my background pieces. And at first I was going to make them be a little bit askew. See how they're a little bit off center, or not off center, but they're a little bit uh, not 90 degrees. While I don't know how I changed here, but somehow I skipped over to spraying this True Love die cut from the Scraptastic kit. That's a Scraptastic exclusive. So I just sprayed it with Silver Mr. Huey's, and now I'm just drying it a little bit so that I can use it quickly. I didn't want to wait for it to dry. And I do already have gold on the layout, but I often combine silver and gold. I don't mind. I think they look good together most of the time. And I'm not sure what I'm doing now, but here I'm going to decide that I don't want this to be off kilter anymore. I want it to be lined up in 90 degrees, so I just replaced it there. I'm committing to keeping that little transparency on the back layer there. Only I wanted it so that more of it was over on the left side, because it's going to provide me a little bit of contrast against that True Love die cut. So there we go. Now the main part of this layout is done. And at this point I'm thinking I might trim off the bottom of that heart pattern paper, see how it extends down a little ways. But I'm just going to leave it for now and see how my layers work. So I cut off, this is a piece of pattern paper that came from one of the frames, the Fancy Pants frames. I think it's Fancy Pants. Yep, from the Beloved collection. And I've already used the frames a couple of different times in a couple of different layouts from this kit back in February. And so I was pretty sure that I wasn't going to use another frame, so I just cut it apart because I liked that diagonal stripe paper. So now I'm just grabbing a bunch of different embellishments here that I'm just going to layer kind of around the bottom part of the photo. This is something I often do, just stick a bunch of embellishments in a cluster at the bottom of the photo. And I grabbed that L Studio speech bubble with the quotation marks because when I printed up this photo, I intended to, even though I'm kind of scrapbooking the memory of going out on date night with my husband, I also really wanted to include a quote that I overheard my daughter saying, and I will fill you in on that when I go to write out the journaling. But for now, I just left that speech bubble up there just to hold some space. To remind myself that I plan to do that, just in case I forget. And I'm liking how this cluster goes, and that La La Love You is perfect there. I absolutely love it. I wasn't planning to put that there, but once I did, and I loved it so much, it was such a harsh black item that I then had to add some more black. So I have this I Just Love You sticker, also from the who makes that? The Head Over Heels collection from Echo Park. And here's another one of those stickers. Thought about putting it up there, but it's too big to go up there for such a big black element to be up there. It's just too heavy. I'd like to have something very small and black, so that's why I grabbed this sticker that you can't see. And then I'm also just cutting another banner from a piece of the frame that I cut up before. So there's a little bit of that frame up in the top corner that you can't see anymore, a little piece in the bottom. Oh, and here I'm taking an ormolu cut apart thing that's meant to fold, and I'm just putting it in my Martha Stewart Punch Anywhere on the Page punch that is a pinked circle. And I'm just using some washi tape because it's such a tiny little piece. I'm just taping it right onto the punch so that it won't shift around when I press down on it, so that I could get it in just the right spot. So those banners that have the blue top and then the diagonal striped bottom, those are pieces of the same frame that I cut to use in the top right hand corner of the layout, which you can't see right now because I'm zoomed in too much. So there was one more heart sticker on the black background, one more black circle with a heart on it, and so I took that. I'm just grabbing a photo of how all of the embellishments are because I really like them like this, so I'm going to take it apart bit by bit and put them back on. with some glue. And here I thought I would shift this one over a little bit when I placed it, but I actually ended up moving it back again when I went to place it because I didn't like it like that. So this is a gray piece that's meant to be a clip that you slip over a piece of paper, but I'm just using it as a regular hexagon. And I'm going to add the wood veneer. I just used some glossy accents to glue that down. And that was a wood veneer from the kit, an exclusive from Scraptastic. Using some pop dots here so that the things that are on the top are popped up, just to give a bit more dimension. So the bottom layers are flat and the top layers are popped up. And I keep referring back to the photo because I did have it the way I liked it, so I wanted to kind of make sure that I followed it. This sticker I put on some pop dots as well, and here I'm going to move this back because I liked it better the way I had it the first time. So now this sugar die cut is one of my favorites with the little smooch lips. I put that up on pop dots, and then I just stuck that little flag in again with the black sticker on it. Now I'm finally sticking down the pink circle. It's actually a part circle, but it's covered so you can't tell. I was just looking to make sure that I didn't like that banner to be hitting Scott's hair, so I just wanted to see how I had it in the photo, and it was touching his hair a little bit. So I'm just going to glue down that la la love you. It actually says la 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 love you, but I'm just having the two la's showing. I'm covering up the heart there with an enamel dot, a gray enamel dot heart, and I didn't like the look of it, so I replaced it with a red one. I didn't want them to be exactly the same, but I do like it like this. So, and they're not exactly the same because one is a big heart and one is a little heart. Now I have these are Simon Says Stamps dies that I got for card making, but I wanted to have a companion speech bubble because these are going to be speech bubbles quotations from my daughter and her friend, and so I needed a second speech bubble. So I'm just going to run this through my Big Shot. There we go. And it gives you a little bit of embossed border around the edge of it too, so that's a really nice die. I really like that one. And so now, and I cut it out of the Ellie's Studio paper and made it so that it matched the other speech bubble because it's out of exactly the same paper. Oops. So I'm just checking my Stampin' Up! Inks now to find an ink that's going to look the same shade as the pink that's already used in that collection from Ellie's Studio. And this is Pretty in Pink. It's actually not as good of a match as I initially thought it was. As it dried, I think it lightened a little tiny bit. So I'm going to go back and I stamped it with Regal Rose, and that's a little bit of a closer match. I just stamped right over top of the same one, just freehand. So this journaling says, Sophie says, my mom and dad are going on a date night. Can you believe that? They're already married, but they're still going on a date. And then Reagan said, it must be their anniversary. My mom and dad go on dates, but only on their anniversary. And this was something that I overheard earlier that day because we had inadvertently scheduled a sleepover with Reagan on the same night that we had plans, like the only plans we had in like over a year to go out together. So the two girls, they went ahead with their sleepover. We just got a babysitter to babysit both of them. So, and my other daughter was out that night, so the babysitter still had the same amount of kids to babysit as she usually does. So I went into my stash here, and I didn't show you guys how I went through my letter stickers to choose these ones. I wanted to use the letter stickers that came in the kit, the Amy Tangerine ones, but but I didn't have the right letters. And I'm just realizing now that I also didn't have a Y in this font either. So I wanted obviously to be a large and a bold letter, a bold word. And so these are print shop thickers, and then these are October Afternoon Mini Market stickers. And I really would have loved to have made all of the in between, like all of the smaller letters in that, but there were no E's in that aqua color. Ugh, that's my favorite, like my very favorite mini market sticker ever, and I can't find any more of them. So the cream with the turquoise, I can find turquoise with black letters, but not with the cream letters. Anyhow, it's not the end of the world. I just changed my letters to pink instead, so there are more mini market stickers. And then I am using those foam letter stickers that came in the kit to spell out the words get out. And I didn't have a U, so I just took a Q and lopped off the bottom of it and put it upside down to make a U. And the U is a little bit smaller than the other letters, but I don't really mind. Sometimes I care about those kinds of details and sometimes I don't, and today I don't, so I just had to replace that aqua colored letter with the pink. So I am mixing up my fonts here. I've got the print shop thicker mini market stickers and then those Amy Tangerine foam letter stickers too, which come in two colors. It's really great for mixing and matching, although I'm not using both colors here. And now I'm just kind of thinking about whether I'm going to left justify everything or center everything, and I really can't decide here how I'm going to space this out. So I decide to go ahead and start with the words get out, and I'm leaving enough room to put more, or I thought I left enough room to put the word more, but it's a little squished in there. So I'll space that out a little bit better in a little while. So see how the word more is really crammed in there between the get out and then the top of that pink striped paper. And so I'm going to need to space it out a little bit more, which I should have really done right away because I'm going to have to move a lot of letter stickers because of that. But I guess hindsight is 2020. There we go. So now I'm going to shift these two rows up to give just a little bit more space for the word more. I love the title of this one. We obviously need to get out more. Very, very, very true. So fussing a little bit with the placement, I just didn't want the word more to look like it was crammed in there. So I like that a little bit more. And I'm going to fill in some of the white space in this title with these arrows. I'm going to use both red. There's lots of red pops on this layout, so I like using these two red arrows. I love red and pink together. And now I think I'm just thinking about other places that I could put some more of these enamel shapes. These are from my mind's eye and also came in the kit. But I'm not going to use any more enamel dots. Instead, I'm going to use some of these buttons. So this is where I store my buttons. I don't use buttons all that often. I do love them. It's just I always find that it takes so much time to put the thread in them. And I'm always tempted to just not put thread in them. And that's what I do here is at first I decide, oh, I'm not going to bother. I had been doing this layout for a long time, even though it took me a total of, I think, an hour and 52 minutes. Yeah, an hour and 54 minutes. But that was a lot of stopping and starting. And so I actually worked on this layout for almost an entire afternoon, like about a 4-hour period. And so at this point, I'm just getting to the point where I just want to be done. I did stick that other enamel arrow down in the bottom, kind of so that it points towards that circle with the heart in the middle. So I'm scattering a couple of buttons and I'm trying not to go overboard. And I mean, it's hard, right? Because buttons are really nice, but I don't want them to look like I cluttered up the layout with a whole bunch of buttons for the sake of buttons. So I'm going to let that striped one in the center there just breathe. I'm going to put it kind of by itself, and then at the last minute I'm going to make a little bit of a switch with this button from a Dear Lizzie collection, I think it is, and I really love that striped button, and I would have loved to have used it, but I think that I'm going to use it after all. Yes, I am. The layout is right beside me. Yeah, I had a minute where I thought I was going to switch it, but I'll tell you why I switched back. It was because then I had these two pieces of wood right beside each other. There was wood on the button and wood on that wood veneer, and I didn't want to have to figure out another place to put wood, and it wouldn't be balanced even if I did put a third piece of wood someplace. So I just said, screw it, I'm going to go with a button because that was my first impulse. I just trimmed that one down a little bit so that the banner that I made here out of the picture frame will dangle off the edge of it a little bit. And I'm going to use my Dear Lizzie roller date stamp, and I'm going to use the one that says date because we were on a date, even though it's a bit of a play on words because it's made to mean date as in the date, right? But yeah, so. And then I'm just doing a bit of journaling at the top that says, on the tall ship Silva with the Sackville Photography Club. My husband is really involved in the club. I don't know what his title is now, but he does a lot of stuff with the club. And so they were having a little social event, so we went to that. So I am going to poke holes and do thread after all. As I was thinking about doing it, I was kind of like, oh, I really don't want to put thread in these buttons, but what convinced me to do it was I reminded myself that every time in the past when I felt this way and I went ahead and threaded it anyways, I was always really, really glad that I did. So I just reminded myself of that and sucked it up and did my sewing. I had already glued some of the buttons down, and so my thread ended up getting really, not my thread, but my needle ended up getting really goopy going through the holes that were, basically I had to poke holes through both paper and a wad of glue, but it worked okay. So I am just using my Amy Tangerine paper piercer to poke holes in the through the buttonholes, and I'm just leaving the thread dangling on the other side, and I've kind of got my thread double threaded. I've got my needle double threaded, and then I'm just tying it there on the end, like on the back side. And yeah, just poking more holes. It's a long process. I kind of hate this part, but it is worth it. Like when I look at it now, I just love it. So the thread that I'm using is a linen thread from Stampin' Up. I haven't like extensively looked for thread or anything, but the Stampin' Up linen thread is the nicest thread that I was able to find back when I was looking for thread. And so I just keep getting more of it whenever I run out because I really, really love it. It's like a soft, it matches craft paper really nicely, and even though there's no craft on this, it's kind of got a bit of a rough feel to it, like it looks kind of rustic, but it's not too rustic, so it won't it won't stand out on a layout that's mostly clean. Like this one, for example, doesn't really have any rough elements on it, but just those little thread pieces in the buttons aren't going to throw off this whole layout. If that makes any sense. Sometimes I think I'm just kind of talking nonsense here while I narrate, but anyways, I'm trying to tell you what I'm thinking, but it doesn't always, sometimes my thought process doesn't even make sense to me. So I'm putting washi tape over these just because I have it in my head that they might come unraveled because I didn't tie them together all that well, and this layout is going to get moved around a little bit before it ends up in a scrapbook. So I tossed and turned on the idea of whether I was going to sprinkle. At first I wasn't going to because I thought I really like the clean look of this, and then I thought, oh, a little bit of sprinkles isn't going to hurt. And I do like them. It could have used it or not used it. It's one of the, I could have taken or left it on this particular layout, but I do like how it looks with the sprinkles. So here are the close-ups of it. I do have some photos at the end, but here you'll get to see just me showing the layout. I did pop dot those speech bubbles. I don't think I told you that. And I think they look kind of like they go together, even though one of them is homemade and one of them is store-bought. And I really love this little cluster of really cute embellishments. You can't go wrong with these really adorable embellishments. They're just so pretty. And so here's my title with my variety of different fonts. And I think that there's just enough black on this layout to make it pop in the places where I did use it and kind of balance off that la la love you thing. I love that forever, forever, forever piece of paper that I cut the pink circle out of. That's really cute. I love those cut apart elements from the ormolu that come in the kits. So here are some more close-ups. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. In honor of the Scraptastic birthday celebration that's going on this weekend, I invite you guys to head on over to the Scraptastic forum. I'll put the link in the information section for this video because there are challenges. This video is part of one of the challenges, and there will be prizes to be won and lots of fun to be had. So check it out and have a great scrappy week.